Morning, everybody. Happy Monday. And I am Ing, and we're going to be speaking with John Burgerman today. John is an artist who lives in Brooklyn, and he's just one of the kindest, coolest people. Hi, John Burgerman. I'm going to put you on in a minute, and we're going to let more people trickle in. So this is Praise You, which I've been doing for almost a week now. And we're doing this to talk to people in the creative world about how life is going during COVID-19. And I am so grateful that John is going to join us because he has so many interesting things to offer and to kind of share about his experience. Also as an artist who's done work in so many different kinds of media. So John, when you get a chance, please request to join me and then we will get talking. And I hope everyone's doing well. Tell me where you're coming from. Give me a wave and I'll also request you, John. Let's see if this works. Waiting for John. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. Is your cat your cat is petrified behind you.
My cat is so petrified that it poops tissues.
It's a talented cat. I think that's very useful in a time like this.
It's like the best stupid gift I ever got myself. You know, I'm not a cat person, but this cat tissue box has brought lots of joy. So what are you drinking this morning? I have my Garfield cup from McDonald's.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow,
right?
I'm jealous. I just have some English breakfast tea because I'm English and I'm having breakfast. So I have the appropriate tea to go with it. Of course, I eat it out of a bowl with my own characters. Because
Devin wants me to. Sorry, Devin says show the cat butt. Devin, don't be so inappropriate.
I'd like to see. Maybe you could.
Maybe later.
Yeah, maybe tease it as a.
Maybe later, okay, guys. The cat butt. I mean, it just needs its own privacy right now. So, John, you are calling from Brooklyn, and have you been home ever since the shutdown, or do you get to go to your studio?
I have pretty much stayed at home. I have snuck out to the studio once or twice, not for a few weeks now, but just to grab stuff that I needed, like to work from home. But every time I've gone there, I felt a little anxious, more so than normal. And I didn't feel comfortable, and it was a bit weird.
Do you feel anxious? Well, I mean, just so people know, you live basically in the same neighborhood as your studio.
Yeah, it's about a 20-minute walk. Yeah, I'm in Williamsburg.
So it's not like
Studios in Greenpoint.
If you can walk, you don't have to take the subway.
That's very true. It's true.
Right. So your anxiety is just more kind of being in a public space that isn't your home. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And just even like walking, there's quite a lot of people out and about. And of course, I'm walking around going, there's too many people walking around. And I'm sure maybe they're all thinking the same. It just makes me a little uncomfortable. And kind of like, I come home and then the next day I've got a slight sore throat. And then I'm like, shit, I should not have gone to the studio. This is, I don't want to get sick. Why am I going? It's so stupid. Yeah. Why risk it? So I haven't been going. That's the short answer.
Wow. But is that building open? If you guys need it in there?
On the couple of times I've been, it's been open. I haven't seen anyone in there. But I guess it's completely. They're taking full rent, so it better still be open.
That's interesting.
So, no budging on that. The last time I went I had a lot of fabric that I was donating to people. So I went for a day and packaged it up in little bundles and put them in envelopes and left them outside my door and then ran away. And then I can buzz people in remotely. So then people came over the next few days to collect to make masks. So that was the last time.
Do you remember you did donate? You gifted me a couple of your fabric samples from your collaboration, and Sadie, as you know, my 10-year-old, she now has a sewing machine.
Oh, cool.
So she started making cool things out of your fabric. But I think she did make a mask, but not yet out of that fabric. So we'll have to get to that because we need to start making child-size masks too at this point.
Right.
Which are hard to find. Well, for those who are just joining, because a lot of people are trickling in, this is John Burgerman, the artist who is streaming from Brooklyn, New York. He is world famous and also lucky to call my friend. John, do you mind tipping your device so that your head is a little higher on the screen?
Well, let's try because it's on a little stand.
Oh, well, that's better.
That's like that. Let me balance it.
Okay, you were just a little backlit too, so you're you have that's much better.
You sure?
Totally better. Everyone, wave hi to John. Tell him how much better he looks right now. And if you
I shaved yesterday as well in anticipation.
Good for you. That's such a big deal nowadays.
Why bother, right?
Oh my God! I mean, we had to really. We've already had to cut my son's hair twice. And it's it just doesn't look so good, but you look great. So for John Burgerman fans, all of us already are familiar with your immense productivity, really, which is something that you are able to do on paper, on fabric, but also online. Yeah, on anything. You and I sat next to each other randomly at a restaurant years ago, I remember, and you were like, "You want some what are those eye doodle things or the googly eyes? You want some googly eyes? Just go make stuff." And you are just always constantly creating, even in the middle of a meal. And you've always been prolific online. So has this experience for you changed at all in terms of your ratio of work online to on paper or canvas?
A little bit, yeah. I think like everyone was kind of shocked and panicked and didn't know where I was, what I was doing, and immediately thought, I'll just continue as I can. But I felt a bit, for the first couple of weeks, quite difficult to make stuff. I started making these little creativity videos just because they really take a lot of time. And I just had to keep myself busy. But doing all a lot of my, all my stuff is kind of asides. I'm doing this when I should be doing that. I'm doing that when I should be doing this. And I build up a whole body of work doing, I feel, things I shouldn't be doing at the appropriate time. But if I do it all the time, then it adds up, right?
Right, yeah.
I think that's kind of how I work. In the restaurant, I shouldn't be making little characters with googly eyes. But that's the perfect time to do it. On the subway, I shouldn't be videoing people and putting my head on their head. But then it's kind of brilliant fun to do. But now it's kind of confusing because I'm at home and there's only time to make stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do now. I need some sort of edge to hit up against.
Maybe you need a hobby. Maybe you need to do something other than art. Have you taken up baking? I mean, everyone seems to be making sourdough. No,
I wish.
You are someone who channels everything through your drawings and your hands and your creativity. But no, that's an interesting issue for an artist right now.
It's there's too much. It's oh, okay. And so I don't know. I panicked and then I started try and keep things simple. So I just started all right. All of a sudden everyone's making stuff online and everyone doing videos and things, and that's really great. But it's kind of I'm a contrarian, or if everyone's doing it, then I find it very difficult to do it.
Well, then you got to get on TikTok. Are you on TikTok now?
I do have an account, but I'm not on.
You do?
I'm too old. There's a face scan when you open the app, and it says.
I was on this artsy seminar for galleries because I have an artsy gallery, as you know, and actually we have 2 paintings by John up on it. You guys should check it out. It's called Prey Shadows Fine Art. But I was on this artsy webinar for galleries, and it was these 2 established galleries in London, and they were talking about starting TikTok accounts because, right now it's really hard to penetrate Instagram. It has been for a long time. You can barely get a following anymore. But on TikTok, you can kind of go on and be active and get 1 million followers pretty fast.
Right.
And honestly, like if you transfer, I'm not saying you should because your Instagram friends would be very upset, but like if you transfer that same amount of, energy and even just the amount of work that you do for Instagram and it was on TikTok, it would blow up. It would blow up. But then you'd have to deal with TikTok and, it's a different kind of medium.
I'm too old. I'm too old now. I'm tired.
All right, she is.
I don't know. It's like if everyone gets going that way, then I have to go a different way. And so I busted out the watercolors.
Yeah, I know. And I suppose are cool.
Thanks. I need to make something, but it's like I don't want to just be absorbed into the crowd of that everyone is doing similar stuff. So it's like I've got to find my own little thing, and it's got to feel right as well. It's very difficult to make stuff if you feel this is what you should be doing. Again, I find that very difficult. So it's like, all right, I got to find my own way. So yeah, I kind of regressed a little. I feel a lot better now. Now we've sort of got more of a handle on things, but I agree.
The first 2 weeks, I couldn't push out anything in terms of content or communications. It just seemed like I needed to take that time to absorb what was happening. I mean, it was a shock, right? And then to also take care of my family. But I remember seeing like a lot of kind of maybe immediate shoot from the hip reactions from either companies or entities online with a lot of immediate things for people to watch and absorb. And some of it is great. And then as we know, some of it has backfired for people. Mostly like kind of the celebrity driven, like sing-alongs. And
that's brilliant. That Imagine song.
Yeah, that Imagine song. And then there was a giveaway, and I'll talk to my friend Amanda Willinger about this because she does digital for a brand, but there was a giveaway for Reese Witherspoon's clothing brand. And it was like, if you're a teacher, we'll give you a free dress. And of course, there are millions of teachers in this country, and they all wanted and expected that they were going to be given a free dress. And of course, the inventory for this company was like, they had a few hundred. And the backlash against it was like, wow, you guys were really just using this opportunity to promote. And so there's that tricky line, right? When you are online constantly and you're an online presence, to not feel like you're just taking advantage of.
Right. I mean, every day I get a message or two about contributing to something. And it's difficult to choose the real things from the... someone just saying this to push their brand or push their account or something.
Exactly.
And I'm sure maybe they're all coming from the right kind of place, but some of them are a little misguided,
Well, I think it's hard to know. I think, unless we have a little bit of time to reflect on what these brands and these entities want to do with this down the line, it's hard to know. And even yesterday, like we were watching that Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN, and there were so many of those commercials about healthcare workers, and it was very touching. But my husband at a certain point just kind of went, you know what? I think I'm saturated with this kind of messaging, and so that went by fast. There was that week when like you couldn't put a regular ad out. It had to address what was going on in our lives.
Sure, yeah.
But you've been I love the Play-Doh figures that you've been doing over urban areas on your Instagram, because, you're taking this very childlike, innocent medium of Play-Doh, which I know you've worked on before, and then putting it in these kind of dystopian settings of, and they weren't dystopian before. It's just that now that every city is so empty, and then you got these like humongous Play-Doh monsters overlooking it. I thought that was pretty brilliant. What was the concept behind that, or was that just something you were playing around with? And I agree with you. Mac Primo says every commercial looks the exact same.
That's because he's vying for a job there. He should get Mac to direct them.
Mac should direct all the commercials. Well, then they'll all look exactly the same. But we're going to talk about
At least they'll look really nice. The Play-Doh. I've been making little Play-Doh guys for a while, and in my head, I've always imagined them as monolithic, these ginormous sculptures. And so sort of playing around with like sticking them in landscapes and stuff to show how big I would like them to be. Whereas, they're actually this big, which maybe says something about me. I don't know. But and just the wilderness that is my neighborhood right now, just kind of this eerie. We probably all felt it. It feels very sci-fi at the moment. Like all fiction has been erased because we can't watch these things with diseases wiping out things because we've lived it, now, and we've seen the effects of it. So it's that kind of fiction has been flattened. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Day of the Triffids, monsters coming, something invading, but maybe they're giant, gooey Play-Doh creatures. I guess, yeah.
Well, I mean, but I think something that people who know your work more intimately kind of would understand immediately is that even though you create a lot of your figures and your drawings are colorful and they attract children and adults, they're really dealing with sometimes with very deep feelings, and they do convey emotions of anxiety and what's real things happening in the world, right? Like you have your emotion characters that you've done in the past. So, you're able to make, I don't know, the feelings of our times and our anxiety accessible to people, right? Through the way you create these characters. It's kind of even more important now because as a grown-up, I have to explain our current time to my children.
Right, yeah.
And that, especially the first few weeks, was extremely difficult because there was nothing I knew to say except, that we're safe as a family and we're very lucky. But I think that especially families and children nowadays, they just need more of a way to comfort each other and to know how to elicit, a conversation from their children, and even simple things like your characters.
Oh yeah. You mentioned the like emotional character things that I made for the Color Factory. I get a lot of emails about those, and parents like even just something that you can point to and say, "This is how I feel. That's how I felt that day," or whatever. I mean, I don't remember ever talking about my emotions to my parents, let alone anyone really. So, but it's such an important thing to do. And if I can create stuff that helps elicit that and start that conversation, that's really, a really good thing to contribute. So, I find that.
But it's also something, but I think about you a lot because of all the attention and content that we are depending on online now, especially, a platform like Instagram. And you and I have talked for many years about how exhausting it can be after a certain point, and you're kind of over it, and then you have to get back in, or you want to get back in. Where are you feeling nowadays? Because everything is online.
Well, it is a little exhausting. I think you need to carve out. I think it's like, am I making this for this thing, or am I making something and then showing it on this thing, and then deciding like what that is? And I think that kind of helps put you in the right mindset. And I find if I'm only making this for this thing, then I find that very exhausting. But I find it's richer for me, and it makes better work. And I feel better when I'm just making something. And then I go, oh, I can put this on this platform and share it in this way. I find that's a little easier. But of course, a lot of people have a success on creating content, particularly for that platform, and that's totally fine and everything. But I find for my headspace it's better to sort of decide on that, because you burn out. It's very difficult. And the great thing about what's been happening is so many people now are bored at home and making stuff. So you have a lot of really weird, unusual stuff from anyone, which I love. I love seeing just regular people making things, not just people that think they wear an artist hat. And that's been really great. And you're like, well, this is totally satisfying a demand for this kind of stuff. I don't need to contribute. Where am I best? Where's my energy best placed? What can I contribute? What am I better at making it? Because I can't make some of those goofy videos because they're just too brilliant, aren't they?
I think. Well, actually, why don't you share with us a couple of the things that you really love that you've seen online?
Oh, Well, there's one video of a row of eggs. Have you seen this?
A row of eggs.
A row of boiled eggs, I guess. And Queen's I Want to Break Free starts playing. And then you realize the middle egg is a bald man, and he stands up and he sings the first line, I want to break free. And it's just brilliant. And there's lots of those kind of like meme kind of videos out there that people are sharing, and they're making you smile. And I love all that stuff. And they're just, I guess they're just being made by kind of regular people, not particularly media savvy people and stuff. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed seeing that.
What's fascinating about that? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but what's fascinating about that is because I've had so many conversations on this chat with museum people, right? Museum curators, and museums are clearly a main channel for people to access art during this time, and it's all free, right? You don't have to step in and pay admission. But it's kind of leveling the playing field, too, of who is that art content right now, or who, what art do you want to see? And it doesn't have to be a museum. It doesn't have to be a gallery. It can be anyone. It was always like this with Instagram before, but like now I think it's even heightened, because if I want to give my kids, an access to art education at one point, I could go turn on the Met website for them, which I have done. But I also have said, let's watch John Doodle today. I've done both things in the same week. And both are valid. Both are very interesting for my kids. I mean, my son, who's 7, actually got really into like a Renaissance painting lecture by this curator. Like in Amsterdam. I did not expect that, right? So that's also something that, because I think in the past, if I had said, let's go to a museum, look at old paintings, he would have been like, no. But, I can say, we're going to go, today we're going to do John, tomorrow we'll do this lecture on, Caravaggio.
That's amazing that well, that's great that you're sourcing those out.
Well, no, but it's all kind of by accident, right? It's like, oh, what's happening now that I can access? But all I mean is, like, as museums are really ramping up their efforts, artists like you have already been doing this sort of stuff for a long time,
right?
And all of it is now made accessible for people, which is the beautiful thing.
I mean, once we get through all this, I think, hopefully, a lot of institutions are going to have to change their tact. You're going to be thinking, and businesses as well, like, what are we going to do the next time something like this happens? Or as behaviors change and people are less likely to come to a big sellout show because they're scared of people coughing and whatnot, how can we offer other ways of seeing this work remotely?
Right.
And there's been some really inventive stuff, Zoom parties and exhibitions in Animal Crossing, and like lots of different ways of people sharing creativity and in different platforms. Which is super interesting.
That's nice. That is great. So have there been Instagram accounts that you've really enjoyed following, or that you've discovered around this time?
I don't know if I've discovered new. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm always finding new artists and stuff on there that I really like. You put me on the spot.
Okay, you don't have to answer that now. It's okay.
To recall them. But there's see who I follow. Go on my followers. But there's a bunch of really fascinating stuff out there.
And then what about, like, are artists talking to each other more or DMing each other more? Just maybe thinking like, oh, this is cool, and then potential collaborations are happening online.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for other people, but definitely there's people I've been in touch with that I've known of for a long time, but we've never really done anything, and we all know we're kind of at home. So there's little collaborations. Initially just to stave off insanity. I'll do this and send you that, and it's quite nice having that sort of back and forth, because a lot of client stuff and those kind of a lot of my projects are just flatlined. So you have all this kind of dead air. And like I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, I need stuff to avoid doing to be able to do other stuff. So I've kind of artificially created projects with other people oh, I've got to deliver that to that person, but instead of doing that right now, I'm going to do this little painting, and then I'm going to send them this thing, and then they're going to send me something back, and then you need that sort of a little sort of momentum and energy and rhythm of things, and then you feel like you're sort of back on course again. So, yeah.
So, like, over the course of the 24 hours of your day, how many hours would you say you're working on your art in any capacity?
Well, I thought about this yesterday because I started work on something at 10 in the morning, and at 10 at night I was still working on it. So that's that. But I had breaks in between and stuff. But it's a bit like it's an endless like weekend now or something. So sometimes I work late and I get up late, and then nothing seems to really matter about that. So, but as much time. I mean, all the time basically.
Yeah. I had a conversation with another artist, Susan Chen, who had to move her studio to her living room, similar to you. And she was saying, the hard part for her, because I think before she was very disciplined in the studio because she would have to go there. Garfield. She would have to go there, and then, it was like going to work. But now with all of her equipment and her studio at home, it's just hard to, delineate, like, when do I stop this? When do I, and I think just getting your head in that moment of like, this is work. This is not time to think about my laundry or all the other things I have to deal with in my life. But I think, that's a classic working from home problem, period. But I think for artists, right, because you have to be in that zone so much. Otherwise, that it might be several hours or just like, I can't, it's a wash. But, I don't know. The whole living room studio thing is fascinating to me right now.
It's tough, but you gotta be kind to yourself. There's a lot of like, oh, everyone's doing all this stuff, and I got to roll up my sleeves and do stuff as well. And it's like a weird time, and you can't be too hard on yourself. And
I agree. Everyone, you just do the best you can.
And you got to take breaks. And even if breaks means instead of sitting here, I'm going to sit there. But just like having a zone in which, okay, the sofa, I'm not going to work on the sofa. I'm not going to take my laptop over there. That's going to be for reading or like watching something and like tuning out what's going on.
That's a very good system. I like that.
Yeah, well, because otherwise it just all blends in. I read this thing about, you shouldn't. I read a thing about like going to sleep. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. It's like you should only go to bed to sleep. Don't take your phone. Don't even read in bed, because your brain is then whirring away and thinking. Treat it. So then you start to make yourself like, all right, now this is my only job to do in this space. So
interesting. Does that help you? That helps you?
Generally. Generally.
Yeah.
Generally. I mean,
Sorry. No, I feel that everyone in my household at one point or other during the week has a problem sleeping one night.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just because our brains are like mostly really bored, I mean, we're not being stimulated in the same ways we have on a daily basis, and even just going out and seeing like the city as you would on your commute or something, it's just not the same. And I think I don't know. I think that's the hardest part.
I think I need, because I work, and then go to bed. I actually need a buffer of trying to calm down and be bored to be able to go to bed and sleep. If I go, like, I'm exhausted, and then I try and sleep, and I can't sleep because my head's still like thinking about everything.
Well, guys, we have 2 minutes. If anyone has a question for John, put it in the comments right now. All your comments are like, I'm your biggest fan.
Wow, that's someone from India. Hello.
I know. Hello, sir, from India. That's so lovely. Seriously, if you have a quick question, but maybe in the meantime, John, you can show us, are you able to take your phone to show us that painting behind you?
Well, this.
Yeah.
This is so old. It's there because there used to be a mirror there, but when I started filming stuff here, you can't have a mirror showing
old
the
is
magic. It? But, it's at least 5 years old. So I don't know if that's old in the real world. Maybe 6 years old. I don't know. It's not even meant to be a thing. It's me testing out the pens. These are made with Crink. Okay,
boss. What's up, boss? Are you buying it?
Wants to buy it, but that's 2 paintings you bought now, Beth. So
thank you so much.
You need one for each child. So yeah.
Everyone needs a John Burgerman for each child. Yeah,
that's very true. Very true. So but yeah, so it was made with crink marker. I've got all the remnants of my videos here. Here is cardboard poop I made from one of my YouTube videos, and a pretzel. What else? Oh look, I was looking. Look, can I see your cat now?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'll show you.
Yeah, you can see my cat. It's really like just a ceramic container. Oh, what's that? I can't.
I made a Play-Doh cat the other week because I was lonely.
Cool. Okay, so I haven't given this cat a name. So what do you think, John?
Oh, mittens. No, wait, it should be something to do with tissue coming out of its butt.
Yeah, so...
Mr. Wipey?
Mr. Wipey. And in your British accent, that was even the Wipey?
Mr. Wipey.
Love it. Well, yeah, so that's my ceramic cat, and I'm going to stick this back.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's kind of funny. It's
Gary.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
well, I will prop Gary here, or Mr. Wipey. Hi, okay. Meow, meow, meow. Well, thank you, John. It's been a fast 30 minutes, and I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry that we can't see each other anytime soon, but I hope to, we are neighbors in Greenpoint, so, when I come back to New York, we'll have to celebrate in person. Yeah. Don't stuff it back. Yeah, Yui, you got to conserve paper nowadays, right?
Toilet tissue is a valuable commodity.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me. Really nice chatting to you.
Yes.
I've enjoyed the other talks you've done, so I look forward to the next ones.
And this will be archived on Stories for 24 hours and then on my website. And John, you're just the best. So much fun. I hope to connect with you soon.
And thanks everyone that left a comment and stuff. All right, see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.